Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we are going to swatch, play around with, and review a new product. And this popped up on Amazon, and I was so curious. And it was $25, and I just couldn't get this bee out of my bonnet. And I'm like, I've got to try these. They look so much like the Neocolor crayons. I am a sucker for a water-soluble crayon. I don't know what it is. I have way too many brands, and I don't know, I just really like them. But I was thinking they're probably just going to be junk, but at least if I buy them and I try them and they're junk, then I can tell other people so they don't waste their money. And so I got them, and I was sitting at my computer, like right when they came in. I opened it up and I started swatching them just on a Post-it note, and I was like, oh, these actually feel really good. And then I'm like, why didn't I buy the brighter colored set? So I actually ordered the brighter color set too because I need my head examined. The brights were actually, or classic colors were cheaper. I think this one was 25, this one was like 22, and there were coupons at the time, so I think I saved like an extra 10% or something. So I went ahead and ordered these as well, and maybe they're as good as these, maybe they're not. One thing I did notice is there's a lot of similar colors with the grays and the yellows. Probably doesn't need to be a 25 set of these, but this one is available in a 25 set. This one you can get a 12 or a 25 of the classic colors. But we're gonna swatch them, we're gonna play with them, we're gonna see whether they are worth the money or if you're better off just going with the Neocolor 2 or the Lyra or some other brand. I'm going to compare them with the ones that I think are the closest. The things I think are the closest are the art bars, which you cannot get anymore from Derwent. I think they're probably the most closest to the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. Or the Lyra Aquacolors, but I think they're somewhat similar to the art bars and the scribble sticks. And we'll also try the Jane Davenport Aqua Pastels, which I believe are made by Mungio, because I've had the Mungio crayons before, also sold by Sargent Art, and they are very, very similar to one another. So I'll compare those as well. Because sometimes your watercolor crayons actually are a little bit more like woodless watercolor pencils than they are watercolor crayons, and by that I mean kind of like a softer pastel. But we're going to get right into it. I got a sheet of watercolor paper here, and we're going to start swatching. I think I want to start with these classic colors because I think that's probably what people are going to be more, this is going to be a more useful set if you don't have anything. I went with the European colors because even though they were more expensive, I thought they might be colors that I don't have with Neocolors, because Neocolors used to be I think they used to have 120 colors or 126 colors, but now they only do 84 standard colors and like 10 metallic colors. So they have reduced their line over the years. But look how pretty they are. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, let's just go right in order. It's weird that the order they're in. I'm going to reorder them, I think. But oh, these feel very, very creamy. I'll do a kind of a full strength swatch and then like a softer swatch that we can add water to later. But that one's called Violet. This one's called Purple. They're very smooth. I don't know if they feel as soft as Neocolor 2s, but I did just take this set off of the porch. It just came, so it's been in a cold UPS truck. This peach color. Maybe I should swatch the Neocolors side by side. That probably would be pretty smart. Ooh, this color would go good with those. Hopefully there's no repeats. I don't think so. You know what? No, I don't think there are, because I think the way these are numbered, I think they're numbered 1 through 50. And yeah, these are in their box by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, these each have their own number. They're named and numbered. One thing I'm always looking for with a water-soluble product is a really vibrant red. It's hard to do red in water-soluble products. Or not, I should say in opaque. I mean in opaque water. So this one feels really nice. In opaque water-soluble products, because they need a certain amount of white in them or some sort of opacifiers to make them white. This yellow feels really nice. So I was kind of hoping that there would be like a super like bright candy apple red that's opaque, but that's really hard to do. Let's face it, I just like to try art supplies and I have absolutely no self-control. Let's just put it right out there. These are pretty though. They feel nice and soft. I'm gonna, you know, I think I do want to just grab with the Neocolors and try them right now. This will be probably a long video that I will do over a few days because it is going to take some time to evaluate these, but also I know a lot of people say they love the swatching, and if I skip the swatching, if I don't do it, then people get disappointed. So I don't, you guys can skip ahead, right, if you don't like it. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is add, so this is where I left off. It comes with a water brush, so why don't we see if the water brush is any good. Alright, I am going to use my little pipette bottle to fill it up. Take out the little valve there. I save these when I color my hair. And they're wonderful. These are the ones that the Garnier Nutrice color comes with. I just washed it out. Now let's see. Hopefully, is that a stopper or is that a valve? Yep, that's a valve. I was just like, I don't want to put a stopper in there. Then I won't be able to squeeze the water out, but it's just a valve. And let me get our little rag to blot my brush off between colors, and we'll give this a go. Now, I generally don't use a water brush with my watercolor crayons because I don't want to, I want a stiffer brush and I don't want too much water. Hey, that's not bad. Huh. That's not bad, honestly. I think I would like a stiffer brush, but I'm just going to use this because that's what's in the kit. Generally, when I'm doing watercolor crayons, I'm using them pretty thick and opaquely, but everybody's different. And if you can get these for around $1 a crayon or less, that's a pretty good deal. Caran d'Ache, sometimes you can get them around $2 a piece at Blick. I've actually seen them on sale for like $1.58 before on Blick. That's a heck of a deal. I would definitely go with those if you find a price like that. And I mean, the watercolor crayons, the Caran d'Ache, are so slow wearing. Now see, this screen doesn't seem to be as soluble. And if I find some that don't want to dissolve, I can always put them with my Neocolor ones because I like those too. And those are a very limited palette. But I have a feeling it might have something to do with this soft water brush versus a stiffer brush that I typically would use. Alright, so why don't I actually grab out my Neocolor 2s and see how they feel. Just right first impressions, how they feel compared to this. Let's find a purple. That one's not really the same. This one's probably a little bit closer. It would be great if they're all different colors. No, you know, I was thinking that these would feel like softer. Because my first impression was that, now watered out, I would say the Neocolor 2s definitely have more pigment. They feel a little bit drier though, honestly, when I color them out, but it could just be the age of the pastel. I want to make sure I'm being fair too. I don't want to be putting more of the Neocolors. So the Neocolor 2s are dissolving a little bit more readily. You could see that. You can see that pretty clearly. But because that's the other thing I was thinking, like, if they don't dissolve well at all, then I'm going to use them with my Neocolor ones, because the Neocolor ones, there's only 40 colors in that range, and I really like them, and I would love to have a bigger range of those. Yeah, okay, the Neocolor 2s definitely are dissolving better. Let's see, do I have a color that's a match for that? But you know, I don't think my colors are exact matches, so I think it's going to be neat to have some more colors. And to be honest, I teach classes at the library, so I get something else that I can bring down. I don't have to worry about because it, you know. Okay, so the Neocolor 2s definitely dissolve better. I'm just going to draw a little circle around those. But in a dry form, the icrayon ones that I just got off Amazon, they feel softer. So let me just write Neo 2, just so I know. Okay, let's finish. Let's go back through and swatch. Keep swatching these guys. Yeah, these feel softer. Oh, you know something else though? Let's try liquefying it right after I color it down. Maybe that makes a difference. It seems like it is dissolving it more, but it's not super pigmented when you wet it down. So these might be a media that I'm more likely to use dry. Oh, that's a pretty periwinkle, isn't it? You know, I do like that the colors are not exactly... Yeah, that one's pretty close. Let me just do a... I guess that's pretty close. I was just like, maybe they're not exactly the same colors. That would be cool if it was... They were a little bit different. So this is the classic color set. I like to paint outside a lot in the summer. I like to travel with my art supplies, but I don't like to take stuff that's really expensive or that I feel like I can't replace. So it's nice to have some cheaper alternatives. Although Caran d'Ache makes the Swiss color line, and they have like little half stick sets, and there's like 15 colors, and those are great. We're gonna have to compare those as well, because I think that oh, actually I have some of the Swiss colors in there. I think that, oh, that one's really soft. Probably because it has more white in it. Yeah, we'll compare some of the Swiss colors as well. And then I'm not going to swatch out the white because I'm on white paper. It wouldn't really show. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to get that fully dissolved. But still, for the price, I don't think they're bad. Now, I did see another brand, and these looked identical, and the brand was Sunny, but the price was as expensive as Neocolor. So it's like, why would you take a chance on that if the price, oh, that black dissolves pretty well. If the price is about the same, but where these are about half the price, it's worth a shot. It's worth the gamble. That's worth a gamble for me. It's a business expense. Probably not worth a gamble for the average. Now let me try the Swiss color ones. I've got, oh, it's a pretty dirty one. I've had this one for a long time. I do have a newer set up, but I keep those upstairs in my on my fun art desk. I call it my fun art desk because it's right next to the porch, like my balcony. So I take my stuff outside and I color out there, draw out there in the summer. I'm just taking a few of these colors that I know are the Swiss color because they're unwrapped. All right, let's try dissolving those and see how they are. I'm using the same water brush, so it's fair. You know what? Look how much the Swiss colors are way more dissolvable and way more vibrant. And those you can get for you can get a set of 15 for $10 over on Blick. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Those are super vibrant. They're as vibrant as a Neo 2. In fact, I think the Swiss colors are the same as a Neo 2. I just think they only offer a small arrangement of colors. So hopefully people will upgrade to the Neo 2s. Okay, now let's quickly take a peek at, let's try the let's try, oh, where'd they go? The scribble sticks, because maybe they're more like scribble sticks, although I found the scribble sticks to be a little bit harder. I don't have that many, because I didn't like them as much as the Neocolor 2s, so I didn't bother to purchase more. Like, these feel drier and harder. I'll do a hard swatch and a light swatch. I think this might be one of those things where it's like, if you don't have them side by side, you'd probably be like, these are very much like Neocolor 2s, but then when you swatch them out side by side, you can tell the difference. There's a lot of products that are like that, so that's why I like to have a, these feel much harder. That's why I like to have a kind of a database of reviews and a database of products, so I can go back and I can nobody can really rely on their memory that much. Like, these are not as opaque as the Neocolors. They're fun. They're fun, though. I think these are all fun products. But I like to be able to compare them, because sometimes in our memories we can be like, oh yeah, I tried those once. They're just like this. And they might be similar, but they're probably not just like them. You know, just because unless they were made in the same factory, which, you know, some things are. But I don't know about these. They're definitely a little bit more work to scribble. But everybody also has their own preference for, like, some people want a harder crayon, some people want a softer crayon. Sometimes I want a harder pencil, and sometimes I want a softer pencil. It depends on what I'm doing with them. All right. Now the scribble sticks they are also liquefying easier than the cheap ones that I got on Amazon. But these I think are a little bit more watercolor looking than the Neocolor 2s. Although those colors, some of the colors just kind of disappear when you add the water to them because they're pastel. Oh, that one's a nice vibrant one. Okay, so those, you can see how they look a lot more like translucent. Okay, that's interesting. Now those kind of feel to me like the Mungio or Sargent Art or Jane Davenport crayon. So let me just write Dino Weekly Scribble Sticks. And because of the way manufacturing is, and a lot of times they use third-party factories and just white label products. There's going to be, gosh, these feel like they might be a little bit harder and drier than the Dina Wakeley's. These are the Jane Davenport Scribble Sticks. Though sometimes you do get the same exact product, just from different companies because they're using the same factory. But Karen Dosh makes her stuff in Switzerland, right? Switzerland, yeah. And let's see, those are made in China. The ones I just got are made in China, I'm pretty sure. Let's see, there's a Chinese address on there, so manufacturer is in Shanghai. These feel much harder and drier than even the Dina Wakeley. They're like the hardest ones we've tried so far. These are I think they're called Aqua Pastels. Yeah, Aqua Pastels by Jane Davenport. Very reminiscent of the Mungio / Sargent Art. I'm very familiar with those because I would teach with those in my studio. Back in the day, I had my Neocolor 2s at home, but I had the watercolor crayons by Sargent, made by Mungio, in my studio for my children's mixed media class. And they hold up a lot better to rough young hands because they're a harder pastel. Oh yeah, those are also very much like watercolor, more like watercolor than like a gouache, which the Neocolor 2s are more like a gouache. Well, if anything, you guys can satisfy your curiosity about these. And I have other water-soluble mediums, so I mean, it's totally ridiculous. This definitely wouldn't be worth it for just a personal purchase, but as a something to review and to check out. I'm always curious about the new art supplies I see. Those are vibrant, but they're definitely more transparent. They didn't wash out as well as the scribble sticks, the Swiss colors of the Neo 2s, but I could have applied them a little lighter, you know, to be fair. Okay, and then let's try the, well, we could try some of the art bars. Now, this product is no longer available. This is a discontinued product that a viewer, Sergio, sent me. He was able to get his hands on a set. I'm going to swatch them. I'll just do a little swatch over here. These are very soft, but they're kind of crumbly. I don't know if you heard that noise or not. My snow fell off the roof onto the bulkhead. I'm just going to take a few colors. They're kind of crumbly. They're kind of dry. They're dry but soft. I wonder if they might have been like the precursor to ink tints, maybe. Because how they do have that bit of a dusty... I'm just going to do one swatch because these really aren't that similar. But they have a triangle shape, which is kind of nice if you need to go in there with a little bit of detail and you don't want to sharpen it. I think that's kind of a cool... that's kind of a cool effect. I keep all these supplies together and then I can find them easily. Is that a black? I think so, but look how crumbly those are. I'm just going to go ahead and try to, yeah, I can't. The crumbles are just going everywhere. I'm going to dump that in my trash. Oh, they dissolve beautifully though. Oh, that's an indigo, not a black. Oh, that's pretty. Very inky. Very inky. I bet that's why they discontinued these. Because dissolving them out, they do remind me a lot of the ink tints. Do you have these? Does anybody have these art bars? You've got a treasure because they don't make them anymore. Oh, look at that red. Now see, actually, that's what I'm looking for in red. That's a really nice red. And probably because it's probably a little less opaque. But boy, that's a gorgeous red. I wish I had a big enough tray to put them all in. But then it would probably take up my whole desk. I just did a few there, but those are very inky. So all these things have different qualities, and it's kind of fun to see what they all, you know, what they all do. Let's see, art bar. And Jane Davenport Aqua Pastels. And let's do the Lyra, what is they call? Aren't they aqua pastels too? Where did Lyra Aquacolor? Now the Aquacolors have always been my recommendation for a cheaper version, like a less expensive version of Neocolors, but are still pretty good. And the 24 color set you can actually get for about $24 on Blick, and I think maybe even on Amazon. So again, I'm not going to do every color here, but these, they feel very much like the Neocolor 2s. And lots of fun techniques you can do with them. Beautiful color range. I think they have 48 colors, I believe, is their largest range. I think they have open stock, but I don't know where you can buy open stock. I think Lyra might be, let's see, where are they made? Are they in, like, from Israel or something? Oh, it says Germany. Germany. So maybe if you live in Germany, you can find open stock versions. Although I have to say, I mean, I have had to buy some open stock neocolors because I've used them up or I wanted to add to the collection or I needed some extras to bring to a class, but they don't wear out too quickly. So you generally are probably working, if you're working like really opaque and stuff, you're probably working kind of small. So, you know, you're not going through it like you would a tube of acrylic paint, for instance. I've just been sticking my hand in that paint, of that inky paint. Oh, let's grab one more color. Let's do maybe a purple. I really like these. These are nice. I don't know why I decided to dissolve the entire ones of these, but you could see how they have much more body to them than the scribble sticks or the Jane Davenport Aqua Pastels, and I would say even a little bit more opacity and body than the art bars. Oh, look at that teal. And I don't think all of the colors necessarily overlap with the neocolors either, so that's kind of nice if you're looking for more colors. Yeah, those are really nice. The Lyra Aquacolors. I'm not sure 48 is their largest set, but that's the largest set I seem to see. Maybe if you're in Germany, you've got more options. They might make a bigger set for Europe. Let me just write Lyra. Okay, so now that I've got my refreshed feel on all of these different brands, I am going to swatch the European version. That's a set here. It looks like it'd be good for urban sketching or landscapes. It's just called the Europe collection from icrayon. And see how these are. Now again, I paid $25 for this one. Actually, I think it was like 23 because it was a coupon, and I paid 21 something for the classic color selection. Now, one thing I did notice when I was swatching, oh, these are really soft though. These are softer than the neocolors. One thing I noticed when I was swatching these, when I first got them, because I did start to swatch these before I filmed. I didn't swatch the bright ones yet before today, before now. But the one thing that I noticed is that there's a lot of very samey colors in this. And I think with a water-soluble media, that's not really totally necessary. But if they're not really that water-soluble, if they kind of like break up when you start to add water to them and kind of don't give you a great color payoff when they're wet, you might just want to use them dry, and it'll be nice to have that softness. But they're not going to be water resistant. So it is kind of a quirky little thing that it's almost like I would rather either have them fully water soluble without grain or streaks underneath them, or I would like them to be water resistant, like a art stick basically. But I do like how soft they are and how I can fill the tooth of the paper like really easily with very little force. So this might be a good option if you have issues with strength, you have arthritis, anything like that. I mean, sometimes children have rheumatoid arthritis. This would be a good, this might be a good, I want to say it might be because I'm very nervous about recommending kind of unnamed, no-name brand art supplies to kids, just because I don't know how much supervision they have with their art supplies, so I wouldn't necessarily give a kid carte blanche dominion over their supplies unless they're like something that's very much, you know, proven to be non-toxic, something like a, you know, Crayola or, you know, some big brand that has a lot of oversight and reputation to uphold. Oh, beautiful colors though. I mean, it is a really pretty color palette. And they feel really nice to color with. But I think where they're going to fall apart is going to be in the water solubility. Take a look at what's on the wrappers here, what information is on the box in a second. But man, yeah, just swatching these out of the package, I was like, why didn't I order them both? Because I was thinking about it, and then I ordered the other set. So yeah, I can see a little spending freeze in my future for art supplies. Good grief. You know that happens though. I don't know if it happens with you, but it's kind of like you say you've had maybe the holidays, right? And you've overindulged a bit, and it's really hard to get back on track because like your body resets to what normal is, and normal is having cookies every day. Normal is having, you know, breakfast, snack, lunch, 11sies, or, you know, like Hobbit. You start eating like a hobbit, right? So you need to have a little break. And so what I'll do is I'll be like, okay, you know, go real strict, nothing extra, go really, really clean for a month to get myself reset. And I need to do that with my art supply shopping sometimes. So, yeah, I'm not perfect. And doing it for a business, I have every excuse in the world to try any little supply I see that strikes my fancy. All right, so oh, they're yellows, man. They do a good job on the yellow. Look at that. That is the perfect kind of like buttercup yellow. Very little grain there. Oh, and by the way, I typically wouldn't use a water brush. I know I mentioned that a little bit before, but I'm just trying to keep this all... I'm trying to keep it kind of apples to apples, or how we're comparing these very similar products. These seem to be actually dissolving a little bit better. Why would that be? I think I applied them the same. It'll be fun to do some artwork with these, and then, which I won't do. I'll show you the artwork in this video, but I'll probably do like little tutorials or demos on another video, just because that will be really long. Oh, look at that one. That one doesn't want to get too creamy. Let me try actually going in the... I think maybe you're going to want to put down a thicker coat maybe before you dissolve them. Now, because they are soft, I think they're going to wear down quicker than Neocolor 2s. So that's something else to consider. It's like if you have to use more product to get the color payoff and get the results you want, is it really a bargain? I mean, it might be a bargain for the initial outlay of the product, but if you have to... Oh, you know what? We also should look at, whoops, the Stabilo Woodies. That's another one we should compare here. Holy moly, that one does not want to dissolve very well. Yeah, neither does that one. I might actually go through here, and ones that aren't dissolving well, just pull them, or maybe divide them up to good dissolvers in one tin, bad dissolvers in another one, and the bad dissolvers I put with my Neocolor ones. Because these blues are just not sparking joy in their dissolvability. You know, yeah, they're disappointing. The warm colors, though, they seem to be doing all right. All right, we've got a bit of a mixed bag here. We've got a mixed bag. And some colors, like those grays, just kind of want to wash out completely. And almost come off the paper and like disappear. Well, they're also very light. Okay, I think part of the reason why some of them are dissolving really well, there may be some white in them that's making them a little bit more dissolvable, where the brights had less white, so maybe that's why they're less dissolvable. But let me grab my Stabilo Woodies and let's see how those do. I think, you know what? I think I'm gonna do, let me just do a little, we'll just do a little bit in there, and we'll grab a few colors and try them out. Now these feel very soft, like the eye crayons. I'm only just going to do, I think these are going to dissolve just fine, because I was just using them the other day actually, so I have a pretty good feel for them. Of course, you're limited in the amount of colors, and these are quite expensive for what they are, to be honest, and for how much you get. That's a pretty color, though. and all these products will work together. So if you do end up getting something and you're like, oh, I think I'd like to try this brand, then, you know, you can still keep them all together and use them all together. It's not like you bought one brand and then, you know, you're changing gears. It's still almost the same type of product. Let's do this color. All right, let's dissolve those and see how they do with a water brush. Kind of a pretty happy little page though, isn't it? All right. Oh yes, those actually, look at that. They completely dissolved with the water brush even. I have no complaints on that. Yeah, they are holding their own. They're dissolving as well as the Neocolor 2s and the Swiss color. They're more expensive. At least they're more expensive where I shop in general. Although Blick had the, I'm just rinsing my brush off because it got a little smudgy. Blick had the open stock Stabilo Woodies for, I'm thinking it was like around $2 a piece. I think they're about the same price as the Neocolors, so that was kind of neat. All right, so first impressions. This is the first impression part of the video. First impressions is they're softer than probably any of the other crayons that I have. I think they're even softer, a little softer than the Neocolor 2s. They don't dissolve as well as many of the products that I'm using here. I'd say they dissolved kind of similar to the Scribble Sticks and the Jane Davenport Aqua Pastels. I'm just going by how much grain is left, but they are a much softer product. I still think that the Neocolor 2s, the Swiss colors, the Lyra Aquacolors, and the Stabilo Woodies are a higher quality product, and the art bars seem a little different, and they're no longer available, so it's kind of a moot point, but I think they were probably a precursor to Inktense, and I think that's why they're no longer with us. But I'm going to make some art with them, and I'm going to play with them a bit, and then once I've used them and done a few things with them, then I can give you my final observation. At this point, I'm thinking, I think if you're buying them for around 25 bucks, to be honest, around $1 a piece, I think I would, at this point, I think I would save up and get Neocolor 2s. But give me a chance to work with them, and then I'll come back and tell you what I think. But right now I'm still thinking, I probably just wasted my money, but hopefully I helped you not waste yours. But we'll see. We'll see. And but then again, if you've already bought them, you got them, you know, let's see what they can do. Okay, this clip is for the review. I just finished drawing this with these crayons. There'll be a time lapse on my YouTube channel. If it's not up yet, it will be up soon. I really like these. I'm really surprised because I thought when I'd use them they would be kind of meh next to Neocolors, but the fact that they're softer actually works really well on this really smooth paper. This is my Stillman & Burn. It's the Nova series. This is what the thing on it, the beige Nova series premium sketchbook. I really liked these. Look at the, I feel like I could get pretty good detail. I used the little palettes that came with them. I wish it was more textured area, but I sharpened the black and then I used the shavings. I used some from both sets. It has a really neat finish to it too. It's got this kind of like glossiness, this waxiness to it. It probably would be a good idea in a sketchbook to spray it with a little bit of fixative or something, but yeah, I'm really enjoying these. Okay, I'm gonna do some work on some watercolor paper and see how I like that, and then I'll be back with a final assessment. Here is the second artwork I did with these watercolor crayons, and you know what? My first, hesitations I had about this medium are completely vanished. I am so happy that I got them, and they are different than the Neocolor 2s. Like here you can see I swatched out the colors I used in this piece, most of them anyway, and then I just wet my finger and smudged them out. they're going to be a little bit different. Like if I run my fingers over these, they don't feel like sticky, but I think if I had closed my sketchbook and I drew, like it would pick some of this up. So I am gonna spray this with fixative before I close my sketchbook, or put a piece of glassine in here because I'm just afraid it might rub on the opposite page. And you can see a bit of a waxy reflection there that I think fixative will diminish. But I really like how soft and thick they are, and how I can really build it up like an oil pastel. So as long as you keep that in mind, they're softer than a Neocolor too, but they're not as water soluble. You definitely can blend the colors together if you use them nice and thickly like I like to do here and on this piece here. They work great. Just manage your expectations. These are, I think, more to be used dry. They're not really like the Neocolor ones, where the Neocolor ones are completely waterproof and waxy. They're kind of in between. They'd kind of be like if you had a step between the Neocolor ones and Neocolor 2s. That's what you're getting here. One technique I really loved was scratching back into the surface of the pastel. That worked really well. I was able to do some little details in the mango there with that technique. I really liked it. I actually signed my name with that technique right there. I love how vibrant they are. And they were just so fun to work with. When I first got them and I first swatched them out, I was like, oh my gosh, these are great. I'm going to order the other set too. And then when I started swatching them out and adding water to them, I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe I made a mistake, you know. But now that I've done 2 artworks with them, I think they're fantastic, and I definitely think they're worth the money. These are around $25 a piece, but they sometimes have coupons on them. I paid $23, I think, for this one because there was like a 10% off coupon, and I paid I think $22 for this one because it was on sale. I really recommend them, as long as you keep in mind they're not as water soluble. They're gonna leave a stronger mark on the paper that's going to be harder to dissolve than a Neocolor 2. But if you like to use them thickly like I did in these 2 pieces, I think you're going to be really happy with them. So I stand corrected from my previous hesitation on these. I think they're kind of their own thing. They're similar to Neocolor 2s. Do I say they're better? No, I wouldn't say they're better. But I would say they're different, and I enjoy them just like I do I'm using them kind of like how I use Neocolor 2s, which is, I don't dissolve Neocolor 2s like watercolors generally. I tend to use them thick like a pastel and just blend them with a little bit of water, and for that, these worked just as well as the Neocolor 2s for this technique. And now I've got a little travel set. I might try to put them all in one tin and, keep them upstairs or something, because my Neocolor 2s stay down here, but I'm impressed. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have the Neocolor 2s, you don't need these. I also want to say that. They're a little bit more like an oil pastel than the Neocolor 2s are, but they are going to overlap, I would say, 90% in the qualities of the Neocolor 2s. So if I had to choose, like I can only have one or the other, I would take the Neocolor 2s because they have a larger color range. But they are more expensive. And also with Neocolor 2s, you can get open stock colors. And even though these are numbered and have different numbered barcodes, I don't know where you can buy open stock. Maybe you can on like AliExpress or something. I don't know. But if they came out with another color set, like maybe colors 51 through 75, I'd probably buy them, because even though, I don't know, I think they're fun, I think they're unique. And, oh, the other thing is, when I was talking about these originally, I was like, these colors are way too similar. They're kind of a waste. When I was doing this, I used every shade of gray. And when I was doing this, I used a bunch of those yellow shades. So I rescind that comment as well, because I tend to use these drier, and I think these are better to use drier. You do want more colors. Colors that, if you have colors where you're going to mix and add a lot of water and they dissolve a lot better, a lot more easier, you don't need so many similar colors. But I think with this, if you work like I do and you work kind of thick and dry with just a little bit of, when I dip my brush, what I do here is, let me just get, I'm mostly using smaller brushes. I'm mostly using like flats and filberts. This is probably as big as I'm about to go, would be a 1/2 inch. So when I load the brush up, I'll just get my water out here so you can see. So I dip my brush. I just try to dip the bristles and not get it on the hairs, and then I wipe off the extra on my finger or on the silicone there. And sometimes I'll even just kind of do like that. So that's how little water I have on my brush when I'm doing this. And I think that's really important to get the best effects from this product, is very little water. That's how I use watercolor crayons. And if you like watercolor crayons, I have a watercolor crayon workshop. I'll link to that in the video description if you want to check it out. There's tons of projects. I think I recommended like the 15 or the 30 set of Caran d'Ache for that, but you definitely could use a set for those. You could use the classic color set for that. But if the price is right, if these are $25, I think it's well worth it for like $1 a color. Yeah, I after using them, and that's where the proof is in the pudding, or the proof of the pudding isn't in the eating, as they say. The proof of the pastel is in the creating of the art. Yeah, these were fun. I really enjoyed them, and I do not regret my purchase whatsoever. But that said, very similar to Neocolor 2s. Similar to a water-soluble oil pastel. It's kind of in between. It's kind of in between a Neocolor 2 and a water-soluble oil pastel. Very fun. And I'm glad I got them. And I had so much fun doing this artwork. So if you want to see demos of these two pieces, make sure you stay tuned to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and you'll be able to, if it's not up already, you'll see them soon. Oh, one other thing I want to mention about this is don't use the water brushes. Well, obviously you do what you want to do, it's your life, but the water brushes are not, for me, or I should just say for the techniques that I use, for how I like to use watercolor crayons, water brushes are not the best use for these, so I would recommend not using the water brushes. Put them with your watercolors, use them for something else, but I don't think they're the best choice for this. If you're determined, honestly, these bristles are so soft and long, I really wouldn't, these are not going to give you the best results. The best results for these, if you like the techniques that I do, is to use flats and filberts. So this is a big filbert. You don't want them this big. Get small filberts, but this is what the shape is. Angles and flats. So look for brushes that are this shape but small, and those are going to be the most useful ones for your watercolor crayons. I just showed you big ones so that they would show up on camera good and you could see them. The other thing I want to mention is that the pencil sharpener works great, and I had sharpened the black and then I added water onto the palette and it liquefied fine, but it does need to soak. So if you have like an ice cube tray that you're no longer needing for ice cubes, or something like that with some wells in it that you can sharpen the pencils over, that would be a good idea, just to conserve your waste so that you can actually use them for paint. Because I did end up going back and using them quite a bit, but they take a little time to dissolve, much more than the Neocolor 2s. So if you put them in the well of a palette and you added a couple drops of water with like a little dropper bottle or a little eyedropper and let it set for a little while, then it's going to become an easier paint to work with, and you will end up using it. Like I did on the, I made a little paint and I used my flat brush to do like the little stripes back there. It's a very handy, useful technique, and that way you don't waste when you sharpen. But the sharpeners are really good that come in here. They sharpen these crayons very well. So yay to the sharpener, thumbs down to the water brush with these crayons. But that's it. I wanted to make sure I stated that before we wrapped up today. And again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting.